Well, hello and welcome back to another fantastic evening here at CCT North America. And it's starting to feel like we got a nice little routine going here. Myself, Vincent, alongside Exner. We've been taking you through these Swiss round 2 games these last few days, and we're going to continue doing that here tonight. Cole, listen, I'm pumped up. I know we kind of got one best of 3 stolen away from us. There was a forfeit that we got information about yesterday, but overall, this Swiss round 2 has kind of really leveled up.
Yeah, I mean, you and I were talking yesterday about how some of these teams are really looking good. They're looking well led. They're looking well drilled, very practiced. They look like they're coming into these games kind of having understandings of their opponent's tendencies. All of that stuff is, very positive and not always something that I've seen out of the advanced scene. So, or a lot of these advanced teams that have now moved into ECL. But still, the point still stands that this kind of caliber of a player and the expectations that are on them, I think they've been consistently surpassing those expectations, and it's been very fun to watch so far.
Yeah, I think we're starting to reshift the focus and redefine kind of like where the walls are at for these up and coming teams. And listen, I think part of that definitely that some of those upper echelon ECL teams have kind of stepped away with the way that the rankings are working here. I get that, but I think that just means a lot more opportunities that are moving in. But I think we continue this overarching storyline here tonight, Cole, where we got Regain and getting info. This is very, very much a sort of defined Regain on that move up. They've been fighting. This core has been fighting in relegation. I think they probably made relegation at least 2 or 3 of the last 4 advanced seasons. Like they've been right there. They've been kind of on the cusp of making that and getting info. This is a team of players that have just an insane amount of quality to them, an insane amount of experience as well when you look at it across the board. So like this is once again kind of that head to head where we're seeing that up and coming faces trying to break through against the established names.
Yeah. I mean, it is really interesting to see that that kind of prospects of this getting info roster. I mean, we talked about it the first day that we casted them, and the expectations I think are pretty high. Obviously, the organizational support that this roster is kind of in talks with in TSM, you just expect this team to be able to get the resources that they need to succeed. We're still not sure if that even is like a done deal at this point, because as you can see, they're still getting info at the moment. But I think the expectations for this team are that they kind of join in with the tiers of the upper echelon teams, the Nouns of the world here is out of the gates, and that's a really tough task, I think, for a roster that's kind of building from the ground up and slotting in a IGL who's, you know, last official before this kind of stint was what, in 2020, where he went on a nice little win streak there. I can't remember the event, but you know, Vanity coming into this playing with Chaos last, and then I mean, a name that you haven't heard of forever, and then having to take these IGL duties. I do think they've done a good job of constructing this team around him, right? I mean, you bring in Carson, who I think can take a little bit of the load off and introduce him, at least in some sort of form or fashion, to the calling department. And I think you got a really solid build of a roster so far.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that getting info roster, you can pull it up just to kind of talk a little bit more deeply. I do think that Vanity hasn't been tested yet. You know, that's to be seen. They kind of got a pretty easy win to start out the Swiss stage, but you know, continuing forward, this is a team that you expect to be making the playoffs. So I think that that's where the tests will start to come for getting info. But you add on to that this roster, you know, with Dia and Darty. Those are two guys that we haven't mentioned, but Darty, incredibly reliable. I got the privilege of watching Darty like before anybody really like knew his name, actually, back in like, I think it was season 32, 33. You know, all the way back, and he was playing incredibly well at that time, and it's just continued to build his career. And then Dia, a player that is so exciting to watch because he's an opera that can be incredibly explosive, an opera that is been very reliable in his previous team, and then also an opera that can do it with the rifles. That's just not something that we see very often in North America. That doesn't really happen. So. Like all of these little pieces to getting info are incredibly encouraging. That's why they have the eyes of you know, an org like TSM. Again, you know, that's not set in stone by any means, but you gotta respect that. And on the other side, let's talk a little bit about Regain. If we can pop their roster up on the screen real fast, because this is a core that was doing good. In fact, they were doing good enough that, you know, they kind of got picked apart a little bit last you know, at the end of last season. Lag picks Raytix up off of this roster, and you know, they had to kind of do some shuffling in the middle of it, but this is still a really strong core of Sasha and Zukar, Halen and Dirk. Like those four players together have been putting up big numbers as a whole.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And this is a team as well that also could have started off the Swiss stage almost certainly 0-1. Probably should have started off the Swiss stage 0-1, considering what their you know, third map decider looked like. It looked like that comeback was coming through, but they just had the options. They had the individuals to rise to the occasion, and when the going got tough, so were they. And that happened, you know, when they were up 2-10 on Anubis, and then allowed for them to go down 10-11 and still managed to close out that series in regulation. So having those individuals that can have those big moments when a game's getting out of hand is always a huge relief, and I think Regain have gotten that. And I think this is going to be like the next step in the staircase here for getting info in terms of warming up into these matchups and warming up with this roster. Because like you said, I mean, Aether, a good team, but I think a little less proven than what Regain has done over the last couple seasons in terms of results. Well, now they have a tougher competition here, and we'll see how getting info can handle that.
Yeah, and I think those questions kind of lead us into this veto quite nicely, where I think that we don't really know where we're getting info are at in their veto. We know that they went towards Mirage in their first series here in CCT, but it doesn't really, you know, kind of clearly indicate. What I do know is that this getting info ban of Inferno, whether that's something that they don't want to play in general or it's just a target on Regain's Inferno. I think both, you know, regardless if it's one or the other, that's a good decision. Regain getting rid of Nuke, and then it's Ancient, which is something that Regain have, you know, in the past been good on, like, as a core. but I haven't gotten the opportunity to see them on that one, as well. But getting info, they're gonna feel very comfortable there, leading into an Anubis, which I just feel like we're going from point to point here, and getting info just have a lot of individuals that feel comfortable on those two maps to start.
Yeah, and then Mirage to end, right? I mean, if required, Dion Mirage, Carson on Mirage, Marky as well. All these players can have those big individual moments. So I'm right there with you in terms of like, okay, we maybe don't know exactly what this team is going to be picking into consistently. We don't know what the identity of this roster is going to be long term. We've only seen a couple series so far out of them. I think you can kind of guess what they're going to like, and it's those brawly maps that oftentimes lend themselves to early fights. You talk about Ancient, you talk about Anubis, you talk about Mirage, and fortunately for them, they've got 3 of those in this veto.
Yeah, and the regain Anubis, I think, is an interesting one, right? They select it, and listen, it's a map that they are definitely a comfortable map for them. But when we saw them on that decider in the Swiss round 1 against Kraken, I think that they got away with a lot of stuff they're not going to get away with against getting info. So that concerns me, especially when you understand that they're going to be starting on the CT side, presumably. I can't imagine a world where getting info would select to start on the T or on the CT side rather than the T, on Anubis. So this is a scary one for regain. I think that they are in a position where this is their time to kind of prove that if they can do it against a getting info team that, for all intents and purposes, has the advantage here.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely the case. Well, again, we'll see what sort of effort we can get out of this regain roster. I think Anubis is one of those maps where you just hope that you can get everyone involved and be able to answer back in this series overall. Not saying Ancient's at all a done deal. I think there was some sort of individual reliance there from getting info that can be plucked apart. Again, if you're a team that's being able to kind of read into your opposition here, watching getting info versus Aether, they did have a lot of those mid setups that were working well, but it felt like could also be shut down if they were met with good reactions. So I feel like, again, if we continue to see that storyline that I talked about at the beginning here, where it's these rosters that are more up and coming, that have some of the newer names, are able to do their due diligence opening up into these matchups, they have a lot to prove to try and take on these teams, right? And I think that's the sort of energy regain need to come into this matchup with.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, and I think that some of that energy, some of these individuals can really power that. I think Sasha really kind of flies under the radar. Like, he's the in-game leader, and I think that he has a lot of firepower for an in-game leader. That doesn't get talked about very much, and you add on to that, him kind of a duo with Zukar. They've been together for a long time. That's why I kind of set them up as a duo, because they've been playing together for so long. But like, those two things together are huge for this regain team. A lot of their wins and losses kind of run through that, and I think that that is also an interesting way to think about it, because there's definitely questions about Halen's, I think, consistency. We saw that some of those struggles in last season of Advanced, where I think there was times and moments before the roster kind of got ripped apart, as I had mentioned before, that Halen may have been in, may have been out. I think that's part of the reason for it. And then Fuzinko, who we didn't get this is a guy that's like brand new face for me, Cole. I don't think you had seen him either, but I remember walking away from that first best of 3 series just feeling like he was always doing his job. I also noticed that he had some really good moments of like good spray control and stuff too, which was impressive. So continue proving ground for a player like that we maybe haven't seen as much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm looking forward to seeing it. As you all can see, though, we are blabbering on a little bit there, and I believe we do have a little bit of delays heading into this matchup. So we're going to be sending this one off to a quick break, and once we come back, we'll be ready to kick off this best of 3. Oh, just kidding. Oh, we got news. We are ready to get into the action. We talked just enough into it, so looking forward to getting into this here. I believe it's going to be Ancient to open us up, and obviously going to be getting Info's map pick to open us up. We'll see what they can bring to the table here out of the gates.
Yeah, it's a rule of the broadcast. You stop yapping, and that's when they're ready to go. So
just timing even for casters, man. You can't get away from it.
it's sort of like the double fake. You just gotta pretend, and then we'll be into the action. So, we'll double dualies on the Bravo base, it would seem, and it might be fast for it to be as well. Utility such, and yeah, they are swinging it up. Halen is here off that contact. He doesn't get any of those first kills, but the counter flashes are beautiful. Tossed in by Zukar, and Vanity's left in the 1v3. He's cut that down to 2, though.
Trying to sneak that bomb there. Does manage to grab it. And also escape, so throws this round up into the air. Vanity's gonna, no matter what the case is, beat him to the punch here. That quick movement in towards his A side. So you're talking at least a palm plant, but still a lot of resistance. 2 players with armor, 1 with dualies. Where does he go there? Instead of diving back in towards Donut, heads in towards Temple. This could be interesting now because they might expect him to be tucked in towards Donut. They might not anticipate him to be behind this box. This is a golden position here. They do quickly identify where he's located, though, and now he has to dance in between these duels. Does get leveled out, and Regain gonna open up with a pistol.
Yeah, they do, and that pistol really kind of given over to them by dint of 2 factors, right? Obviously, great positioning on the B side play, where Halen in prime spot to kind of farm up with these dualies, but it's also the flashbang. Zukar, I think, had 2 flashes coming into that round, and he is just setting this up. Everybody blinded, including Halen, temporarily, but he just continues firing on off, and his vision returns. There is far too much confusion for getting info to actually recenter themselves and get back into an actual site take proper. That's massive for Regain. We'll start them out on the right foot, but a bomb plant will allow getting info to keep up with pressure.
Yeah, just go right into those force buys. No questions asked. As I highlighted, very mid-heavy for this getting info squad. See a lot of that on the day 1. Watching them play up into things. They continue that principle here in this matchup. A little bit of a lineup there and some team damage taking place as they look to collapse in on this defense here. Quick kills roll out, and they've got extra coverage for that smoke push as well. So it really provides them little support there. Talent actually going to make a move through the smoke. Will, and does get leveled out pretty quickly. I think the footsteps heard from Dia. Quick reaction. Sasha down low and Dirk down low as well now. So I think this might just be a save call.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly the greatest feeling walking out with two MP9s to save, but a lot of utility there for Dirk if he can hang on to it, the Molotov especially. But a wonderful round out of getting info. As you keep mentioning, they really do enjoy that mid presence, and Regain pushed off of it pretty early. Don't look to full take, as most of their presence was actually up towards Shelf. But allows that avenue in through Donut, where just had all the coverage with Fuzinko, and it was Halen on the other side. Both get rocked.
Honestly, a little surprised considering how things opened up as well. You're talking about a situation in which you have a double donut at least set up for the CT side. You're also doing some team damage. It looked a little clunky out of the gates for getting info, but you can definitely see that they are fearless in this matchup. They continue to run it down despite the hiccups. And they do some serious damage out towards middle again, and this time the MAC-10 being able to tear through these pistoled up players. The AKs then follow behind them. Dia steady with his aim. I think he's going incredibly well there until Sasha provides some resistance, but that's the last 2 players now identified, so you can just run it into B.
Yeah, no need for further caution. At least not on getting to the bomb site proper. We'd already to get the numbers punched in, and Dia's still like very far away from anything here. He's like making the preemptive move if this is a save angle for Regain. And he might pull this off. Yeah. Lots of damage done. Great work out of Dia to get them both. That's one of those highlights I was talking about for Dia. Just very proficient on the rifling duty as well as the AWP. cracks open a couple over in mid and patient as ever. Catches them on the lurk as well. It's 4 kills for Dia in the round.
Yeah, I mean, that's a big player to have confidence. And for, Vanity as an IG, obviously he has his hands full getting used to the metas and things of that nature. But he does have a lot of players that I think he doesn't really need to babysit or micromanage or anything like that. I mean, everyone that he does have, Darty, maybe the lesser experience, but even he has some great experience in that department, so.
I mean, that used to be the case, I think, but Darty's been around for long enough now that he's starting to turn the angle on that one,
Right.
From the young gun to now one of the more experienced players on a lot of the teams.
Like 3 RMRs here over the last couple of years, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not to mention the fact that, I mean, talking of individuals to kind of get you up on some of the micro or the macro decisions that I think Vanity would need to get caught up on. Like, these are guys that can get you on the right track fast.
Missed smoke there, but doesn't matter. Does the trick good enough, and Carson cannon in towards the donut side, does get blasted out there that early. Again, mid duel doesn't quite work, but there's a little bit of vision from Dia. He does a lot of damage in the end, but ends up getting taken care of instead for his troubles. So map control successful throughout a couple different routes here.
Wonderful flashbang. Catches Marky in full. Ultimately, some damage done onto Sasha. The continuation of what Dia was trying to put together, but respect for how Regain have been able to pick up so much control and space on this round. That's some timing. Already information gained onto the Ender player, but Galen is still here. Though the spray is certainly not perfect, get that kill eventually.
Already wants to take these duels right now. I mean, there's a couple low HP bars there on the corner. But no, nice little mobility there with the A1S. Quick step out there for the finishing kill. Could have got concerning. If that HE lands the kill into Sasha and he gets that one onto Dirt, it's very much so a different story. But this is constant proactivity throughout the map here. I mean, look at this. You got the B aggression coming through. And then that leads into a cave side flash, so all over the map there, they're pretty mobile, and that's exactly what you like to see out of Regain.
Especially like to see them winning those early duels, like getting engaged in these fights from the very beginning. Sure, it's helpful when Carson is really on his own. In that, we're seeing getting info take a different tact in this round. Oh, that's tragic. Sasha had the A1S, didn't have any trackers or anything to follow there for Marky through the smoke, but yet still he comes away with the kill. And the mid defense falls. It all happens at once, and getting info. They go from a loss to a win so quickly. Swiftness of that round, I think, causing Regain to think a little bit about what they want to do into this next one, especially with their money in a bit of a middle ground spot where they can save, but win a round, lose a round, very tough for the CT economy.
Go for halfsies.
I think that's the move.
Seems like that's what they're interested in. Not too much investment though. I'd like to get Zukar involved here. Especially if it just means a kill with this Deagle or something along those lines. Get him activated, get him feeling a little bit more confident, because right now Deave's controlling that server on the other end of things, and that's not something you really want to deal with.
Especially when you got to think, if you're talking like role-wise, Zukar is your star rifler on this team.
Ooh, man, some quick coverage. Making sure that this one stays nice and tidy. And no casualties so far on the anti-half-buy. Just what the doctor ordered. Vanity will keep it that way. Chasing down through Temple. And getting info again off the back of that timeout. You'd imagine the regain were kind of setting in whatever was called in that timeout for this round in particular here.
Yeah, key piece to get Dirk onto the op. That's a big plus. He's another guy, you know, with the AWP especially, where I think, you know, has kind of been on it and off it, because they had Poseidon last year, or last season. I guess technically last year as well. Regain. But now without him, Dirk moves back into that full-time role.
It's like how I haven't taken a shower since last year.
That's bad news. We're 20 days into the year, Cole. That's an oops on your part.
Yeah, the water's always cold.
You're supposed to hit the warm button.
It takes so much time. Almost got one downrange when TikTok man was out.
Well, the TikTok's back and
it's over. It's over for people's noses, but I mean, not as much aggression off the back of this round here. And finally, they do try and get a little active, but it's without utility, without anything to back it up. Well handled. Marquis does step forward there. Did have a late flashman coming through, but Sasha's got to get a reload off and tossing that A1S high in the sky. Oh, traffic jam. And Vanity trying to distract her, turn those eyeballs every which way while Darty pulls through a big flank.
they got eyes on, and that's massive out of Halen. Re-clear as well. Halen into the low HP of Carson. To make this happen, he's held the line. Set up Dirk for the 1v1. It's op v op. A duel been brewing throughout this round. It's Dirk over on A. Dia combat opping his way through this map.
That's brutal. On the wrong line right there.
Steps. Allows Dia the cross, and now Dia in such a strong position.
Oh, but I can't afford to miss there. Now sidearm v sidearm. Op pulled out once again. Oh, can't connect. The USP does come through. Is there enough time for this defuse? There's
not. Gonna get it.
Oh, well, that's one way to end the round there, and a little bit of a whiffage spree. But I believe with that time, oh no, he dies too. It's ancient, so he can't even run away.
You think if he goes like spawn there, like all the way in the corner, I don't think he could have gotten to the corner, but
yeah,
he maybe survives.
Maybe that's your one route out. I feel like, in theory, for map design, he should have done enough, but
I mean, I'm right there with you. I'm not disagreeing. I'm only asking the question because I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. Theorizing a little bit.
Well, there's no theories required on that one, though. Honestly, you got to hit those shots. Given two opportunities, hard, difficult shot. Agreed. But that was the win con, was to hit one of those two.
What is that? And he's liking this game, and the game's liking him back.
Bro, do you bring something else from Valorant? Like,
I don't know. Is
got
there
a neural
lot of
theft,
running
or?
gun and Val as well? Because it looked like he was just on the fly shooting through that smoke there. A couple pop shots. Take the edge off. Is there need to hold down the line here on this flank? Look at these 5.7s. What is that, Helen? Just knocks through entirely. Darty dancing back into the smoke here. He has to chase Zinko, but very uncomfortable in the attempt to this bomb plant now.
That's so frustrating as well, because now Darty, the longer that he takes, the least comfortable he's going to be able to be. No space to work with. Halen, already a wonderful round from him, but love this decision. Just let him have this space. There's no need to get active yet, especially not with 3 HP. Zinko not showing, but Darty's just going to continue walking this forward. This is great out of Darty. This is space that he's gained. Now he owns this area.
Had to work hard to get it, but fortunately for him, there's ample time for him to make that motion. And one slide out, long range 5-7 duel. Enough done to scare him off into A. So maybe not enough done here to win the round necessarily. Stardy's going to make the long rotation in. Plans on planting. There's so much time left for him to cook in this clutch. And he's managed to survive it so far. Can he actually close it out though with 4 HP? 1v2.
I mean, he had a chance, you know, if he got the bomb down on A. Got dinked, sure, but now even better of a shot. Well, this is going to be very clear where he's at based on the bomb plant location. But it's the low HP player first that he rips off. Flashbang goes in. He's going to force his way through. The lack of armor makes Dirk very... Oh, no, he didn't have it.
Ah! He doesn't have armor, so he's dead again. It's the same round. He might survive here.
Oh, yeah. There we go.
But same result at the end of the round there, holding on to an AK, considering how that round went. 3 kills out of Helen in this 5-7. Unbelievable impact, but it's just not enough at the end. That's frustrating.
I mean, and it's another round where Halen gets a triple and it's not enough.
Oof.
That's second in a row. Definitely a moment where you got to put your hands up in some frustration. Another tack called. It's the second of this half. Regain. But I guess there is one big positive to take away from that, and that wasn't the buy. You know, that was a half invest move from Regain. So I guess you can take solace in that, but I don't know, if I'm Regain, I'm just thinking about what could have been. That's 2 rounds now that I would argue really should have been wins, could have been wins, however you want to frame it.
Yeah, and as you said, you got to make sure that you void off that frustration you could be feeling when it's a loss. Here's Darty and Dia both combined here. Now that you got those fancy new guns brought out into the next round, feels like a little bit more of the same result. They're already into B. Vanity's just winning this round by 4s. Late lurk out of middle from Carson to seal the deal. And it is looking like getting info. We're up to the task here once again of assertive dominance here on Ancient.
Yeah, and I think it is the word dominance, right? The rounds that they've won have been incredibly dominant. You know, some close situations, but those are created by individuals more than anything else. Regain. When they look to find the breakdown, it's hard. This mid control's been very difficult to contend with. Dia gets the pistol out eventually, but didn't actually have the follow-up. Carson was a little bit further gone. Halen up ahead of the Molotov. His teammate will swing through. Lots of damage done, and it ain't pretty, but Vanity will get her done.
Get her done. I don't know. He's dodging those bullets effectively as well as getting info. Have, again, going back to maybe a game plan that worked for them, some aggression down B ramp, trying to get that utility down, but at this point, Vanity's so ready for it. Got that molly to kind of force a little chaos into your game plan and high-low setup that makes it not so easy to deal with on the half-buy. But if they want it, they'll take it towards the middle, that's for sure. They want B control. All they have to do is wait, it seems, and the action will come to them.
That's something that Regain have really been committed to trying. And that's so devastating. He actually gets dinked, by the way, but through the edge of the wall and with an M4 means that it basically does nothing. Off contact, though, Halen and Zukar. We get some very heavy lifty done over at the B-bomb site. And they miss on that Molotov. And again, just patience when they wait for that proactivity. Regain are willing to give it over.
Oh, that contact there between Tia and Darty again. A little bit of push and pull to really shut this thing down. Multiple mollies to toss in. Make it a smoke this time. Maybe gives Zukar a chance to work. Spotted out now, though, in the clutch. Molly again making his life that much more difficult. A little extra damage ticked off as well. Had another 10 or so, making it easy for Darty to line up that kill and close out the round there. It's getting info. Ended off with 10.
And it's Dia ending off at 17 and 5. I mean, that's one of those factors I think that getting info have over a lot of these teams in the position that Regain are in, with individuals that just take over games so consistently. I feel like you could rely on getting info to have somebody going nuclear in this manner pretty reliably. It's Dia this time. Powered up to a 10-2 score as they go over to the CT side. In pistol, pretty much all that they got that whole half.
See if they can make it any extra pistols. Oh. Got a team headshot there. But routing in towards cave instead of taking that long control with the smokes obviously down. And they are in a good position here with this cave control to hold down a post plant.
No flashes, no nothing. Just a smoke there from Darty, but that's not going to be needed when Zukar turns quickly. 2v2, both seen, located, and Fuzinko grabs them both with Halen in tow. They'll dance around the bullets. So Regain will indeed find another pistol round. Saw last night that, winning these pistols certainly will help put you in good positions. But you gotta have more than just these.
Yeah, you certainly gotta win the follow-up here. This time it should be easier against USPs and a Zeus and a 5.7. I think Vanity went back and sold. So likely that they will be able to survive this situation. Oh, missed Zeus. Marky, he had the opportunity, but couldn't quite connect the voltage.
I saw that guy might be back here soon. Voltage, that is.
Yeah, he's back.
I think he's playing on an advanced team, right?
It was Might, right?
Is he on Might? Is that what it is?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that's right.
No, that sounds correct to me.
It had been a while since I've seen him in the action. Good to have him back. Very careful about how they deal with these pistols. They're taking no chances.
Well, you start the round by almost getting Zeus, I think.
Yeah.
No.
What if that Zeus gets picked up?
Puts into perspective kind of the mindset to getting info or coming into this round with, and that is full send. You don't want to be the object of the full send, Bad spot to be.
You want to be the one that's full sending it.
Right.
That is exactly what they have to do in this comeback effort. You can't afford any sort of hesitation. Probably can't afford any mistakes to back it up as well. That'd be nice and tidy as they look to speed it up on a B rush. They're a little bit out of position on the CT side, but Darty lines up a double with his utility dispensed just in time. The Vanity from the long side will close out another 3 and ends up, and from that short and long hold, they get a full house.
A little disappointed in that call out of Regain. Feel like there was more to be had on this round. Really committed on a must-win round, and that is definitely a double-edged sword. The ability to kind of go for such a all-in type of maneuver, committed play, can really pay off. But in this moment, it didn't. It gives getting info Another round to work with. Regain will go back onto the rest of the money that they had saved over.
How did Carson get out so easily? Gets another one as well. A little disjointed in that mid attack there. Must have been some flashes that caught those players pushing through from the bottom side of mid. And that really disrupts the setup here. Try and change up the route, but a good idea. Taking this long control in the 2v4 at the moment. HE does not help though. This Darty's on the money with that, and the rotations encapsulating them completely. So at least a bomb plant, but no further ground made really.
No, I mean that bomb plant will help continue this investment that you're forced to make now against map point, but look at how nasty Carson is with that slide kind of back and forth a little bit. Great spray control with it. That's the new way, the new move. Let's keep on the move, I guess, a little bit. Especially with the A1S. SMGs, what is this one going to look like? A test Marky. They will find that he is tested and has succeeded. An A+ in that one for Marky. An A+ for getting info on this one. Ancient is over about as quick as it started. 13-4.
Yeah, that's just a incredibly efficient map there all the way through. That's both pistols lost and didn't really shake up getting info at all, because on those gun rounds they really demanded that Regain earn their respect. And I feel like, unfortunately for Regain, who's a team that I have high hopes for, they just weren't able to do that on their opponent's map pick. Now obviously again, Anubis is maybe something to look forward to here more, maybe heading into their map pick, and we've yet to see Anubis out of this getting info squad and official. It could look a little bit more cohesive, but in that situation, some small detail errors that will cost you big time when you're playing up against this caliber of player, and it felt like that happened quite a bit there throughout the T side certainly, and a little bit on the defense.
Yeah, especially though, I think some missing individuals like Zukar. He's a guy that you really do need to have, picking up the pace in a super significant way. When you're talking about playing a team like getting info, we didn't really see that happen. Took him a while to get warmed up into this map, and though Halen had some really impressive moments overall, he was kind of the only one who was able to kind of rip away those big plays, like find like high value in those moments where, sometimes we're getting a lack of that, where consistently it's a who's who on those guys who can pick it up. We saw Dia pretty good on that pretty often. But yeah, all of that kind of leads us into an Anubis, which is coming up next. We're gonna have to take a short break though before we get over there. We'll see if Regain can pop back up into this series right after this break. Well, I think one thing is clear, and that's that something's got to change out here for Regain. Getting info, I mean, just thoroughly bested them on, to be fair, getting info's map pick, but, it wasn't a question of the, like individual decisions. More than anything, I think the individuals making the difference for getting info goal. Like, they look just a step above.
Yeah, I mean, they again, as I put it in the T side there, we're able to, say, hey, I want this map control, and then take it with 3 kills. And there wasn't a lot of resistance from that point. There's a couple of close rounds that required some big heroic moments there that, Helen maybe set up in the 3Ks, and maybe you could start the conversation around what could have happened if those clutches went their way, but they both didn't, and that's a bit of a frustrating factor to sit on there, and a lot of advantages in that first half going the opposite direction because of how well Dia was able to rip them apart. Now you have to hop into Anubis on a CT side, to be fair, but you really need to have some of these key pieces step up to the plate and offer up some reactions to getting info who are just coasting.
Yeah, I mean, Zukar definitely the one that I kind of highlighted first and foremost that I think needs to have the biggest step up. And I think number one, just a bit of a rough ancient, but that was a team difficulty as well. But you know, when you're the guy that your team really relies upon to kind of create some of those opportunities, you know, it's unfortunate, but it does just fall on your shoulders so very often. Halen picked up the pieces sometimes, but it was pistol rounds where we saw Regain find some limited success. Here we get them kicked off with another early pistol advantage, but that is brought back quickly. Getting info will move their way into the A-bomb site and overwhelm the defender there.
Not turning that corner here. Instead, 4 players ready to lurk out. That flashman goes sidelined and ends up blinding the defense, but the coverage is too overwhelming. Vanity looking to collapse on this last headshot. And the quickness of that retake taking place there maybe created a little chaos. But the timing on the Heaven Peak was just so perfect.
Yeah, going from this kill, right? Sasha falls back. They got 2 players here, and this, like, looks great. Only for Fuzinko to be sidelined immediately, and them to take so much space getting info up into Heaven. Regain went from having a lot of possibilities back into that retake to very few in a swift motion. Regain about to be 5-stack today, and that's where getting info are going to be. With USPs, even the body's not enough to overcome difference in firepower. Whoopsie.
Same team. This is one way to deal with a stack right there, that's for sure. Marky just absolutely fearless in those duels. We'll make sure that there's no complications in this round. Except for maybe a little bit of team damage that you can pretty comfortably laugh off in the position that you're in. Early days with a map advantage.
That's now considering a pistol round win that they didn't have before. Not over on Ancient. That's incredible. Marky taking a duel there, but the jiggle tap, sort of a more safe maneuver oftentimes for the T in that scenario, but he gets dinked off instead. Impressive, but meantime, getting info have been very quick about taking the space. They're gonna flash through the smoke. Blinded are both of these players on site. Oh, and it's looking so simple for getting info right now.
It's right back to the basics, man. Collapsing in off of, you know, some decent utility, but really just breaking down any sort of hope that you have with your firepower. Double entry from the underhand flash that works, and looks a little bit puggy, but it's just something that they can get away with. They met very little mid resistance right there. The first time they were ever really stopped was because of that smoke that the CTs threw, and you're coming into these matchups kind of expecting for the T side to have a little bit of respect and not make those pressures, but fighting for their guns is working out pretty well.
Problem is that though it starts off well, it ends pretty poorly. And as much as you can pat each other on the back and say, okay, well, we fought our way out, we did some good work to get a few kills, all of that really pales in comparison to the value that the actual rifles would have provided. And they don't have any of those. Regain might be picking up a whole lot of loss bonus, but fortunately, I don't really think they can afford to full invest into this whatsoever. Sasha's not too far off from that. I mean, again, I mentioned loss bonus. You know, this is much more affordable considering that fact for Sasha, but still be a little light.
Just keep spamming. Just keep spamming. Ooh. So a walkout from a USP there. So trying to contain some info there, but now they know Ellen's on that left side angle. And there's just no relief coming through. Zukar looking for a big step-up moment. Help from everybody right now. And that MP9 staying mobile with a lot of chaos as Marky never made a move through that main side. He was hiding a little bit further back and now he's in a clutch of his own.
Marky not have armor?
Yeah, he does not, I don't think.
I'm a little concerned. I don't know. Yeah, maybe it's a HUD issue, but that's terrifying when you're looking at even the low HP of Fuzinko, but an MP9. You're going to hear that. So eyes all locked forward. Instead, forward move made by Marky, who's well hit the timing. It's perfect. He's looking, but doesn't see the cross. So Sasha, he's got the right look. Headshot means that armor or not wouldn't have mattered, but that's incredible. I mean, I was kind of talking about the additional investments that were being made by Regain, and that's why you want to make some of those investments, even though it can mean some difficulties in the next round. If you get a kill, or in this case, get a couple of kills, you can win the round.
Yes. Very well handled in that 1v2. Like I said, maybe no matter. Marky was just saving for later, but I'd imagine if he did have armor, he'd be a little more confident running in, trying to trade out some of those players. Felt like he was left a little stunned. Getting info. Kind of a rare breakdown from their department. That's the exact sort of pressure point that you want to really press on if you're Regain here in this situation.
No doubt about it. Like we had like a little tech pause there, but we're immediately right back into the action. Skin check. What do you think of that op that Dirk's got? An OG. Dang. Guess he hates it. So quick. Getting info, just gonna extinguish the Molotov. And they run straight through the smoke as well. That flash ineffective. And it's difficult for Sasha, who's, I mean, already cut off on this. At least he gets his one. I mean, that's something. It'll at least deny the bodies, but smoke actually does provide Halen a lot of opportunity. Not quite the double swing, but one after another so that Darty can trade. Dirk and Zukar hit him with a couple of big wins. A lot of util left, too, in this whole thing. Darty forced out into the open, right into the waiting arms of Zukar. A wonderful round that Regain pick up the retake.
And those were the rounds that just couldn't follow through from Ancient. Those late retake situations where the action gets very chaotic. They were struggling big time in that department. Even a 3v3 in this situation. Managed to fight their way on through. There's Zukar with a big pickup onto Vanity. And gonna move on up to a second round here, 2 in a row, strung together. It's not gonna stop the pressure though from this. Getting info squad, they will keep it up.
Yeah, that was a, how much can we get away with check out of getting info? Just straight run through everything, rush out a. Nice shot from Dia, even with his teammate right next to him. Adjustment required, but Marky's getting to get there eventually. Pre-fire, Marky almost picked that up too. Halen has to adjust, and he does. Halen been incredible tonight. The Shadow nearly giving Halen a third. Unfortunately, Halen's heroics are not necessarily going to save the round. Getting info, still have 3. So a numbers advantage with the bomb planted.
Flash to scale on in. Immediately met by a peek from Carson, who trips him up. On the inbound, Darty retreats a little further in towards E-box. And at the moment, there's no kit for Fuzinko. He's trying to use that mobility on the MP9 to full effect, but Darty will steady his aim and lock in a round win there, ensuring that this post plant does go in their favor.
Yeah, it seems like getting info kind of sort of willing to play a little bit of a coin flip Counter-Strike right now. Play really aggressive, trying to close the distance. And, I mean, we're seeing Regain able to able to stall that out, here and there, but getting info are not at all worried about that fact. They're just going to continue playing their own game. And when you're talking about this T side versus this CT, Regain are the ones that can't afford to continue to go back and forth like that.
I'm not too concerned about the force spies coming in this situation. Person gonna mop those up with ease. 12-4 for him. It now seems like he's the one that's gonna step up to the plate and have some big impact plays in this map, like Dia was in the last. Farming up some ecos in some of these cases, but those still count.
Sure enough. Count the same on the scoreboard. Same amount of points. In fact, you could argue might be worth a little bit more when you think about the money. Got that Mac 10. I know we don't have like points aren't a thing anymore, but back in Go when there was points. Was it different? Did you get different points for different weapons?
I don't think so.
I never paid attention to
two
points.
points for a kill, 2 points for an assist. I think they still have points, but it's on the other screen now.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Just goofy. Some people are obsessed with points. I've
Really?
always found that so hilarious.
That's
They love to take bomb.
right. Get the
From
plant
you.
point.
Those are always big for point lovers.
Yeah, I'm more of an impact lover. Just, like if we win the round.
Fair enough.
Simple man. What it's been for getting info, pretty simple. Flashbang catches Zukar, but he pushes forward. Beats that nade. But call that a very successful B main aggression.
Walking out, taking down a key component, Ian Markey, getting a little bit of extra information off the back of it. See if this double up in E-box causes any concern though. So now they are giving over space. Smart reposition here, little aggression from A, but that's not maybe the gun for the job. They still managed to clean it up there. Fuzinko plenty of time to do that. The great Molotov from Zukar. Splits up the offense. They coordinate their efforts perfectly. Dia, the scope ready to go. A little bit of an unknown factor. Don't let him heat up here.
Yeah, don't give him duels. That's for sure. They're not going to. Just let him get away. They got everything they need on that B site. Regain. Settled in a little bit to this map now, and on the CT side, as frustrating as it can be, as annoying as it can be for Regain, not being able to really find any footing to start building. I think this is still very okay if they're finding these wins.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, showing some big flashes of brilliance here in some of these rounds and some of these situations, like that perfect B hold. I think that you have to continue your activation. After this B aggression, the double up in towards E-box, things can really get chaotic, and then you can see a Molotov on the inbound there to split up the offense, trying to make it through that choke point. Just about everything you could ask for going right for them.
Yeah, really enjoying, watching Zukar have some success. Just as I say that, gonna go down to Dia's AWP on Fuzinko as well. Caught on a lackadaisical on that angle. Doesn't anticipate the speed with which getting info we're heading in there. And this is what I was just referring to when mentioning Regain, probably starting to feel some some frustration about the fact that they just can't build anything up onto the CT side. There's no consistency here.
That's a huge problem. As I said, just flashes of brilliance here, but they need to be consistent in that department if they want to get any long-term success going. But you win around, and then you get bounced back with more of the same, and it's got to be a little frustrating.
No way Diaz going in for that.
I don't think he would. Oh. He gets the AK picked up. I think he lost his op, though.
Yeah. I mean,
it's an expensive hunt there because I don't think they can afford one here.
I mean, Carson could technically, but I mean, they really don't have the money for it. Especially after Dia opened up that round with the first kill, you know, first blood on the round. Like, that's a little bit of an annoying loss, but I don't think he'll be too bothered considering we're getting info we're at in this map and in this series. This is already a lot better. I mean, scoreline wise, yes, but also just the way in which these rounds have gone down. Regain have been, you know, a factor so many times where that wasn't true on Ancient.
Yeah, and at least being able to show those little glimmers every once in a while, they pop up. And you can see that this team they do have some depth on this map. They have it on the gun rounds, importantly. Ooh. Zinka left a little bit high and tried dart. He just takes care of business. Very comfortable on this A side of Anubis, and that is brutal. Not a lot you can do about a jumping entry like that. Except for save.
Save they will. I will say over the last, you know, couple of times seeing Regain on Anubis, I do feel like their A-hold is a little bit tentative at times. They really enjoy leaning into those bait setups where, you know, they're often in an off angle that wasn't what they got punished with here, but their initial stance was that, you know, but in the bait and switch there, I don't think there was a lot they could do, but they really do enjoy those setups. And it's something that can get punished. The team does the research. I don't think that getting info we're really too worried about it, though. They've been able to exploit pretty much anywhere and everywhere they want.
Yeah, it looked like there was supposed to be a flashbang from Sasha in that situation. And then he peeks off of it, but they got scared. I think maybe the molly not going deep enough, something along those lines. There had to have been some breakdown in that utility. Because I don't think that was their game plan, but now they're going to press on this pressure point of struggles on A and call it out fast.
Oh, but speaking of quick, they're through Canal already. With the saved rifles as well. Zukar up in the mix. They've already crossed over. There's still Sasha to be dealt with on the A site proper. Now everybody else moves forward, and Sasha's done his job. I mean, that's 2 kills or a kill, excuse me, Sasha picks up, and a lot of time that is bought. It already runs for B. And I do think this is interesting. Getting info quite split currently. Very fortunate that Regain only now starting to figure out what's up.
Double up on the flank. Marky is going to get no action from here except for trying to play up the bomb. Already has a tough task ahead of him. Kind of in a solo affair. He's getting some help late for Marky, but without a kit. Bomb half ticked, you do got to get a move on. They must have spotted Marky there, but doesn't matter if you get vision on him. You still have to take care of him. And he is sharp as can be. Darty will follow up. And the decision to head in towards A and the quick reactions from getting info will get them through that round with ease.
I mean, and it's Darty as well that I think is one of the most reliable players at this level of the game. You know, in these types of scenarios, you team him up with Marky, who's just a a star in his own right. It's always going to be a great duo to work with in those clutches. But once again, I'm left feeling like Regain have a lot of good thought process behind their moves though on that round. Just don't have the weapons to make it happen. And again, adjustments made here for Regain. They understand how constant getting info have been up in their faces at A main, and they've thrown a lot of good utility that's helped push Vanity down. Fuzinko getting that opening pick, mostly because Vanity was already tagged just under half from utility.
Back to a bit of a bait and switch setup that can really work well when you're up against a couple of low HP bars. One good flash can really disrupt things though. Dodges the flash there. Wow, what a quick reaction there from Fuzinko. Nets him a kill for his troubles, but Darty, old reliable, will bring them 3 to answer right on back. As soon as you think you've got the ball moving, Darty puts a stop to it very quickly. He's going to bring in the digits here. Put it into a 2v3 post plant this time on the A side.
So devastating for Halen and Zukar, who were actually really quick on the rotate. If there was just a little bit more time, they would have been there in camera. Darty moves forward, and he just takes fights, and Ace would have been on the cards, but he steps forward into Halen. It's Dia instead that will end the round. Getting info, the half at 9-3. And this is where I think Regain, their issues of consistency just come back to bite them so bad on the CT side. Again, never able to put together, more than one round at a time. Always forced onto uncomfortable ecos. That's the story more than anything of Regain's last half. That and trying to find a way to force getting info to respect them a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, every round was met with unequal force there from getting info. A whole lot more weight was put on as soon as they lose a round. Darty, a key contributor in that department. On that A side was an absolute beast. Now they have a good read as to where this play is going. They have Darty still ready to go with the dual Berettas, and that flank has already gotten into action. So they don't have a lot of space here, but they got to fight for this ground.
I4 they will. They're getting tapped at through a smoke. He's got to reposition, but I mean he had the bomb anyway, so Wired gonna start flooding in. Isolated, missed shot there for Vanity, but he'll get there as well. Fuzinko now up into the clutch, and Marky just steps down into the open. He wants this duel, and he wants it now.
Oh man, Fuzinko ends up closing out the finishing blow, and will bring them a 1v2. So back to that pistol success and denial. Getting info who started that round off incredibly well, and Fuzinko has big shoes to fill heading into this roster, but able to bring a big win into the mix as well.
Tell you what, sometimes it comes down to trying to get yourself into these positions that, maybe you can make that comeback. This is what Regain have done here by winning that pistol. MSP round basically done already. Getting info. Looking to try it. Honestly, half this game, it just feels like they're speed running. Wherever they want to go, how do we get there the quickest? On that eco, it's no different.
At this point, is that a tendency that you're trying to read in on for Regain and maybe abuse?
Definitely something to take advantage of, I think. Perfect time on the T side, especially to slow it down. Where you hope you can lean on a strong default. Like that's not quite what Regain are thinking though. interesting. You know, they toss a lot of that utility. The smokes are down, and they really give a serious look at B. And they had a lot of space. I'm wondering what Regain were actually looking for. What would have been the thing to see to actually hit the go button on that B take? Because they had a ton of space to work with and didn't see a whole lot.
We were hoping for more of that CT side aggression. It's been pretty prevalent. Said it's going to come through late. Marky just running around that corner. He's got a player right underneath him. And Zerk will clean that one up easily. You don't even spot that close by player in Helen as well, so there's a lot of pressure put onto this duo on the B defense, and they get caught massively surprised by Fuzinko and Zukar. Entries in, save called out, and Regain. They do hold their default long enough to let getting info walk into their open arms.
And now there's a question kicking around in my brain, which is, you know, do getting info continue to take those decisions, or do they adjust quickly? Because for me, the way they've been playing is a brand of Counter-Strike where they have no respect for anything until they're forced to. But they are going to be forced out entirely of this one. Again, hunt them all down. But, you know, thinking back to that T side, this is where we're getting info, would force buy in and run it back on, you know, a fast play towards A, or you know, something along those lines. Obviously, it's not quite the same on the CT side, but we'll at least go for the eco.
See if the CT side has any more struggles. Again, Regain showing that their defaults can hold steady up against this fierce opposition.
Around the world move. In an HE, or rather a flash, excuse me. And popped you through that smoke, but nobody's seen. They got the read, getting info. They're here. Over on B. But I think Regain making a little bit of a later call back towards A is perfect, considering that fact. It looked like they were leaning towards B up until, you know, a few moments ago, and now Regain ready to just walk it into A. An empty bomb site.
Wow. What a headshot right there. Too many targets for Helen. Does get overrun. So straight into the retake effort. I guess for Darty, maybe you can call it a save. There's another rifle to pick up towards middle. And save they will.
That. Maybe not. Send it in. Have done a lot of the damage. They won't win the round. And to be fair, that a lot more on brand for getting info than you know, trying to take the long save attempt on that CT side. But hey, Regain's starting to close distance. They're just 2 rounds away from getting this game tied up at 9s. But a first for Dia on the AWP defensively.
Pass towards A. That's what they're looking to bring. Molly's tossed in just in time for that to get stopped in its tracks at the moment. And now we'll see how Darty can hold up against It seems to be a pretty decisive bit of opposition around the corner.
Decisions changing, it seems, quite quickly here for Regain. They are taking space back towards Canal. The bomb's still sitting outside of A, so presumably that's still where they look to end, but
just a surprising peek right there. Vanity and Markey roll out around the corner without any util. Get rewarded with a couple. Hardy wins that though. That's the bomb dropped over towards A, so that is going to force some serious reroutes here, disrupt everything that you had in store. 35 on the clock. One extra kill there for Zukar, but how do you recover this round now? A little less HP to your name as well. And a long route to that bomb.
crazy on that timing. Darty walks in just as Sasha starts falling. So it's sort of a free kill for him, and Carson's going to get the final. Yeah, I think Fuzinko sort of got to realize how important it is for him to just stay alive. Honestly, difficult to maybe even let Darty slide by, but I mean, just an absurdly strong shot out of Darty as well. It makes for two sides of that whole equation. Just as Regain start to pick up some pace, pick up a little bit of momentum, that's when getting info knock them right back down.
Such a thin angle right there from Dirk, and manages to connect on a tough shot. So Carson sidelined here, and those advantages have been well worked. His defaults have been well handled. A little bit of smoke spam there on the Marquee as well. There's Zinko with the jump. And a couple of nice kills to open it up. Sasha as well in that lurk will claim even more. So Markey left last standing, and now Regain giving them a taste of their own medicine.
Popped them one at a time, honestly, on this one. Early pick and decisive take. Leaves no chance for a even attempted retake. It's Markey who's recovered the op from mid. So a small victory if he can escape with it, which, considering Regain not really going for too much of a hunt, seems likely.
Terrorists win.
Likelihood will be a guarantee now. Awkward for getting info. Starting to find themselves in a similar scenario. Win a round, lose a round. That ain't great. Though bailed out by the fact that they had a huge loss bonus already and survived with all but one in the previous round.
Yep. Has the op ready to go and does find one. Zukar trades out quickly and has to now peek into more ops. It's a smoke down range and is going to look to escape. Dodge out of the spam 1 HP. That's unbelievable.
Zukar might die. Well, if it wasn't the first nade, the second, it'll be the third. Fully dead to just utility damage. He is so fortunate to be alive. And him living lets them just post him up. Searching from Palace, and now he's centered back into mid control. Great shot from Dirk, that flick. Already again, but Dirk is on the money.
Bomb has been
amount of clutches that they've been able to confirm here have been impressive, but this is definitely a task too far with Dia on 1 HP and without kits. So they're going to call it a save and regain. Going to now move 1 round away.
Again, are no strangers to this type of scenario. You know, going deep into an Anubis. Worked out for them. Their first best of 3 series in CCT. Once again, left feeling like Vanity really committing to that on a gun that would have been super nice to have this round. But I think they're going to get MP9s behind this, ensure buy in the next, and then try and move Dia's op around such that they can still win this round.
Get away with the advantage here for a short period of time, but Dirk with a very fast reaction, nice little jiggle off the flashbang, gets the vision on Darty before he seals the kill. That is beautiful work. Only the op saved, and finally a timeout called from getting info, as they're needing some recovery here to try and close this map out.
See what they've got drawn up. You know, Dia obviously the heavy firepower available to them in this round, but you got the MP9, so it's not a entirely empty armory that they're working around. He's going back towards B. It's E-Box this time. And he's got the help of Carson. Maybe help is a strong word, because Carson just sending it deep in the canal. Makes it an easy shot for Dia at the very least.
Just trying to set up this op as much as possible, but again, the defaults have held up. Always good for a trade back at the worst of scenarios, it feels like. Dia's still positioned here with the AWP. Marky's out in no man's land on Dia at the moment. But extra rotates getting involved, and they're in front of these smokes as opposed to behind. These flashes do connect here, but it's a little too late on the throw. Close range with that 5-7, and Marky chews them up and tears them apart. Looking for that final kill here. Tech 9 out in resistance. Runs out of ammo before any miracles can take place, and getting info off the back of Dia's AWP and the capabilities that he brings this team a takeover of a round right there.
It's a bold claim, I feel, from Regain. Heading back towards that B side after the saved op is there. I mean, they did have the utility. Honestly, those flashes, as you mentioned, they were good. Just step too early. Just Dia the slight amount of information and the slight amount of vision that he needs to hit that flick.
Always available to dig them out of a hole, it seems. When rounds start to go wrong, he can steer it right in the direction with his op openings. Looks like this time he's going to be able to bring some of that individual takeover here on Anubis that this roster desperately needs on this T side. His op is in the right position, though, just in time as well.
And it's a little bait and switch maneuver there for Darty. Dia gets there perfectly, makes Darty so much more effective. 11 looking to turn 12 as the op and the bomb run away over to B. Dirk has the bomb plant if he so chooses to take it, but ooh, time on that opportunity starting to expire. And he's getting flanked too. Yeah.
That's brutal.
That's an example where being careful comes back to really bite you in the rear.
Yeah, just enough time. I mean, talk about perfect timing for Dia. That intuition that good operators have to have on this map, and why you can usually get a good test as to how good a player's positioning is when it comes down to how they play out these rounds. D is just such a great positional opper. On top of that, he has his, great moments there, and it just goes to show that if he has that intuition, he's going to be there at the right time. Helps out Darty. Secures the crucial swing round here that now leads them into Tech 9 to try and fight for their life on the series.
There's Dia active again. Hope that they could take advantage and run him down, but they didn't have that opportunity. They're too far away.
Oh my goodness. Went for hopeful
Twice
smoke
over.
spam. He's trying to just play with his life. He knows that he doesn't have a lot to lose with low HP and an op. And before the chaos really develops, the round is over because Dia finds 2 openings. Darty is still standing on this A side for one more well put together round and getting info. They survive a CT side of Anubis there and show up when it matters most.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a comeback there for Regain. They do all that they can. When you're talking about, winning the important rounds to kind of get you into position, we talk about the pistols a lot, and they do that on Anubis. They also find a way to, start to build back in with their T side. They find a lot of easier openings when getting info or trying to play aggressive, finally stopping them here and there. But once getting info decide to play a little bit less carefree, I feel like that's when you see their consistency, you see the depth that they have start to rise to the surface.
Yeah, absolutely. And then again, just also the individuals, Darty throughout that first half, getting them enough gas to close out the rest of the T side, and then Dio, when they needed a hero op, and he was that player, had so many moments there where he was able to collapse in on that T side, find opening duels, position himself well, and play incredibly in tandem with a couple different individuals. So exactly what you're looking for here for getting info as they pass the second step of this Swiss stage and are looking for one more here, looking to go 3-0. But little info for you all, as we kind of highlighted, if you remember from the beginning of the broadcast, Akimbo and Might is not going to be happening tonight. That is a forfeit victory, so Might are going to move their way on up to 2-0, and Akimbo going to fall to the 1-1 side of things with a forfeit loss in their department, and that's going to close us off for the remainder of the day. As we highlighted, Vincent, though, we have a lot more action and more stuff going on that you and I will be on tomorrow, right?
Yeah, Swiss round 3 getting started, if I'm not mistaken, for tomorrow. We don't have those matchups for you just yet, but this is kind of where things stand as we end out tonight. It's Might. I think it's a big easy victory. I think that was an Akimbo team that definitely was favored, at least somewhat in my mind, against Might in that matchup. So the fact that Akimbo, I think, probably worried more about their ECL run, considering they already have a win here in a Swiss stage that they can bounce back in. It's just fine. I still expect to see them in playoffs, but the teams that we continue to see kind of building up in this are the teams that we kind of thought were going to happen. Getting info, I think, even despite the closeness of that scoreline looking 13-9, not yet really tested in this Swiss stage. And so I think we'll still be searching to see if a team can actually make that happen. Seems a little bit unlikely, to be honest with you, the way they've been playing. Yeah, that is just the end of our broadcast today. A short and sweet one. We hope you have enjoyed, and we will be jumping back in starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. Once again, tomorrow for 2 more best of 3s. It'll be myself and Cole. So we will see you then. For now, though, peace out and have a good night.